The hate army troll.
It's the hate army,
bro.
The hate army.
Shout
that
out
guy.
to hate.
Good vibes to the
Shout
hate
out to
army.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out
Shout
for
out to
hate.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out for
Shout
hate.
out for hate.
DSPN, also known as DSP Gaming News. Fresh hot off the presses, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Are you ready? Now, admittedly today I don't have that much to talk about. We have one gaming news story, but it's actually a doozy. It's a really big one. All right, are you ready for this? Some of the biggest news ever to come out of the gaming industry this morning. So, for the first time ever, voice actors and performance actors, meaning mocap. You know, when you put those suits on, the balls and the sensors, and you're doing the mocap for a game, and you're doing the voiceovers, and you're playing the characters, essentially the acting group. For the first time ever, they may go on strike. SAG-AFTRA, who is the Screen Actors Guild, this is the union where all the actors are a part of, okay, has essentially voted, approved, and advised that basically all voice actors and mocap actors should go on strike along with everyone else who is already on strike. If you guys aren't aware, actors and writers are currently on strike in Hollywood. There are no new shows being produced. All of the late night talk shows and daily shows are on hold. Everything is suspended. Movies are not being made or promoted. Everything is frozen because of this big strike. So what is the strike about? Basically, two big issues are going on. Issue number one is that movie studios have found a way to digitize and distribute content over the internet via these subscription services like Netflix, like Paramount Plus, like what's the other one? Peacock, Amazon Video. We keep going. How many of them are there? HBO Max, now it's just Max. There's like 20, 30 of these subscription services. So basically what these actors are saying is they're signing contracts, okay, that say, here's your pay, here's your residuals. But for some reason, the contracts are archaic. The contracts are only talking about classic residuals, like movie sales and stuff like that. What they're not talking about is the money that these studios are now making from all of these digital services. So, for example, there's actors coming out saying, wow, my show is the number 2 rated show and number 2 watch show on Netflix. By the way, I've made $0 from the Netflix deal. All I got paid was the initial acting fee for the show. And if they make like a DVD of it later, I'll get a cut of that. And I make nothing from anything when it streams on Netflix. 0. How does that make sense? Why does only the producers and the companies that stream make the money and not the people who made it? Why are they not getting a cut of that pie when previously anything that distributed that movie, they made money? They made ticket sales, DVD sales. Why is the digital distribution now being left out? What is going on there? And what it is they're basically, these companies are trying to basically be greedy. They're trying to say, hey, normally these should have been, this should have been something that was fairly negotiated, and they never bring it to the table. They're never offered this anymore. Why do these companies pocket all this digital money, right? So that's number one. That's issue number one, okay? Issue number two is that increasingly when actors are now signing up for any kind of a TV show, a movie, or whatever, they're going into the studio and they're being told, we need to do a digital scan of your body for CGI work, okay? So what happens is they go in and they flag them, and what do they call it? They put the scans, like the dots they put on their face or whatever. So they scan, they map. Oh, it's something about mapping, right? Something mapping they call it. So they scan and map your likeness, okay, to be used in CGI, which is fine if they're using it for the CGI for the movie that you're actually in. But what these actors are actually starting to find is that their CGI likenesses are now starting to be used in other projects that they never authorized and never were paid for. So let's say, for example, you are Johnny Depp and you play Jack Sparrow, okay, in all the Pirates movies. Now, you make a new Pirates movie, and they pay a good amount of money for it, so you're pleased, and they scan you when you're making the new Pirates movie. But then Disney decides to make 2 new movies that have nothing to do with the Pirates franchise, but other characters. Like, what if they did a Barbossa movie, okay? So it's a movie just about Barbossa, but all of a sudden Jack Sparrow has a cameo in it, and he shows up for 5 minutes, but it's not Johnny Depp. It's his CGI counterpart that they scanned, and they're using it without his permission, just to say their characters in the movie for the 5 minutes. Now, obviously, if they actually had it in for longer than that, you'd know the difference. But that's the point that people are making. There seems to, like, they don't want to pay actors for their work and the likeness. They want them to put all this work into the characters, but then they want to own the character and use it for free later without the actor involved, right? I think that's kind of messed up. I do think that there should be a limit, all right, on how much it's used, or, you know, at least if they're going to use it, well, that was you. We scanned you. That's your likeness. You will get paid every time we use your likeness, right? But they're not doing that. So this is a huge thing. This has been happening in about the last 2 years. These actors are now speaking up, noticing it happening. And they're like, we definitely don't want that. So these are the reasons why the actors are currently on strike. Writers as well. Writers, again, they're writing. They're the ones who make the shows and the movies, and then they're going digital, and they're not getting paid for any digital profits. So that's why everyone in Hollywood is currently on strike. And they've been on strike for what, like 5 months or something like that? And there has been zero movement. Zero. There's been no movement whatsoever from Hollywood. They are not willing to meet and discuss. They don't give a shit. They're like, well, we're hoping is that eventually they will lose so much money by not being able to act or write that they're just going to give in. And they're just going to say, fuck it, well, we need work, so we're just going to come back without having won anything from this big strike. All right? Now, does that sound fair? Does that sound right? People are saying they feel like they're being mistreated and they deserve more, and that these companies are rolling hand over fist in profits from their hard work, and they're not getting appropriately rewarded or paid for it, and they think they should be compensated more. Sounds fair. But not to Hollywood, to these ginormous megala corporations. They don't give 2 fucks. They think they're so insulated from any kind of criticism or demand for improvement that they could just sit there for 2 years and not pump out any projects and still be fine. I guess we're going to see. Because if you didn't notice, a lot of stuff that we were hearing about has now gone by the wayside and on hold. And if you take a look at all the movie releases for the next year, they're getting sparser and sparser. Take a look at the TV shows. Pretty soon, things are going to start to dry up. There's not going to be anything left in the pipeline to pump out anymore. So what's going to happen is the question. I don't know. Now, the reason I bring this up today is because SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, okay, is now advising that voice actors and mocap performance actors for video games also join the strike. So, for those who don't know, current giant game studios, all right, who have unionized workforces include Activision, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Take-Two, Insomniac, WB Games, and more. Okay? If all of them decide to go on strike as SAG is calling for, you realize there will not be any new video games out of those studios within a couple of months. Like, essentially, probably everything coming out to the end of the year is fairly done. They don't need any more voice acting work or mocap work for that. It's just the finishing touches that are being put on those games by the game developers. But any game that's currently in development from those studios literally will be on hold indefinitely until something is determined. So here's the thing. We've been talking about workers' rights in the video game industry for years. We've been talking about the philosophy of crunch and how we feel how bad it is, that crunch doesn't solve anything and crunch doesn't necessarily make a game better. It just overworks the workforce and makes, in some ways, a game even worse as corners are cut to try to get a game out in time for a deadline, right? So, I think there should be more unionized, people in the gaming industry. They're starting with the actors, though. They're starting with the voice actors and the mocap performers. Okay, fair enough. I wish that everyone in the gaming industry would be unionized, because really it's those line-level game developers, the ones who are coding, the ones who are putting all that shit together, the visual effects and everything. Those are the ones that are being completely destroyed by this overworking crunch atmosphere. And they're the ones really who I think should be getting more rights. So I guess we'll see what happens. It's unprecedented. This literally has never happened before, where there's been any kind of a union movement in video games. And a lot of people are wondering, essentially, how is this going to affect the games industry? Will it shut down games for years to come? Will we have no new video games coming out for several years for any of these companies who have unionized, right? I mean, it's very possible that these big AAA studios could be frozen and completely shut down because of this strike going on. I guess we'll see what happens, all right? There seem to be people on all different, wavelengths of thought here. So I'll just say, listen, I think that they do deserve more rights. They do deserve more pay, especially if they're working their asses off. The same amount of work they've always done to pump out a movie or a TV show or a video game. But now you're telling me these methods to distribute these games that these people are not getting paid, but the company behind the financing of the game makes all the money? That sounds pretty underhanded to me. It does, all right? So to me, I'm for the rights of these people. But certainly I'm not someone who has studied the big picture. I'm not someone who understands every aspect of it, what's going on. So I don't want to stand here on a soapbox and start talking about workers' rights and shit like that when I really don't know everything. I'm sure. It's just like everything to everything, there's two sides, correct? There's this person's side, there's that person's side, and then the actual truth of the matter is somewhere in the middle. So unless you actually analyze the whole situation, you'll never understand it. If this continues, if this actually happens, and we get games frozen for years or whatever, we're going to probably be hearing a lot more about this story and the sides of the story, all right? But for now, this is the first inkling we've ever heard about a strike in the game industry. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I really am. Okay. That's what's hot off the DSP news desk today. Not too much to talk about. So, by the way, as you notice, I had a word with that news editor yesterday. That guy was out of line. I don't know what the hell he thought he was doing. So I slapped him around a little bit. And today we got him under control. Okay. So, very nice. I think what we'll do now, we'll move on to the next segment of the show. And the next segment of the show will be shout-outs for those who have contributed. I would like to remind everyone the ways that you can support my content. If you like this show, if you like my gameplay, if you like my React stuff, if you like anything, please support my streams. I'm a person who does not go out of his way to get sponsorships, partnerships, paid product placements. I don't get paid to specifically play any particular game, which is why all of a sudden you don't see me playing an indie game no one ever heard of to make a buck. This is also why I don't run exorbitant amounts of ads on my content. When I stream, I maybe take one ad break, maybe two tops, but it's very rare, all right? For me, it's about the content. I put out meaningful, honest content for you, and you reciprocate by supporting my content. How can you do that? Well, you can like the stream, and you can leave comments. You could watch this video on demand, like the video, and leave comments. All that is called engagement. Engagement puts my channel into the YouTube algorithm. And it allows more people to find this content on YouTube. So please do that for me. Okay? Then, if you'd like to go above and beyond, there are many ways you can support the content. You can do a super chat. You can do a super sticker. These are ways you can contribute live during a stream. You'll get a little bit of a shout out in the chat. And I will actually shout you out as well during the live stream. You can do a super thanks on an on-demand video. And that's a way to actually put a nice promo message there, big colorful message on the video. And it helps out. And I will actually like your comment and sometimes respond to it if I can. You could become a member of the channel or give some memberships to your fellow viewers. Today, this would be a great opportunity because I'm playing so many new games in the next month, including Starfield, Armored Core 6, Lies of P, Mortal Kombat 1, just to name a few. And people would absolutely love to have access to my emotes, to not have to abide by slow mode rules of chat, to have a cool chat crown badge by their name, among many other perks that you get being a member. So please consider becoming a member or gifting a membership to the channel today. Your fellow viewer would definitely appreciate that. Also, if you want to do a direct contribution to the stream, you can tip me. Tipping is a great way to contribute because it goes right through PayPal. It's instant. I can use that money for something very important like paying a bill or buying a game. And I get more of a cut of tips than anything else, just being honest. Everything else is great. It helps. But there's middlemen that take cuts. With PayPal, very little gets taken away. I get the majority of it. Okay? So again, thank you in advance to anyone who contributes in any way to my content. I really appreciate those who go above and beyond to support it. Speaking of which, let's shout out those people right now. As you guys can see, sadly, once again, we did lose some members overnight. I guess some gifted memberships had expired. So we're down into the 530s. We were at around 550 last night. But hopefully we can get back up there today, right? So Klein Ball Z Deep 69 did 2 super chats, both complaining about unions in the gaming industry, which is hilarious. I don't want to get into it because, again, I just don't really know much about the true full story of what's going on. I'm just reporting the facts. You know, if this story goes further, perhaps we'll look deeper into that. But thank you for the super chats. I appreciate that. But we're not going to get into a big debate and discussion about it now, especially when I don't have all the information. Okay? Guys, it would be great if you could support my streams today. Yesterday was outstanding. It would be great to keep that momentum going with Starfield today. So please support the streams if you can. One Button Dash says, I used to love Mark Hamill, then I started following him on social media, and I hate him now. So here's the thing, and again, I say this all the time. There's a good reason why I don't do politics. You understand? A lot of these actors and actresses and people who are in the industry are very opinionated when it comes to politics. And so you follow them, and next thing you know, they're talking about politics constantly. And if you're not in agreement with their political stances, all of a sudden, you might start to not like that person, despite the fact you respect their work a ton. You may be like turned off to them now because of how they act outside of their work. So, you know, for me, the way I see it is, even if I don't necessarily agree on the stances of these people, I at least can respect, you know, their professional work. I try to separate the art from the artist, as they say. But at the same time, that's also why I stay away from politics at this point. I want nothing to do with saying something political, and then all of a sudden someone says, well, you know, I was your biggest fan for 15 years, but I don't agree on that political stance, therefore I can never watch you ever again, and I hate you. I think that's stupid. I'll be honest. I think that in life, you can agree to disagree, and you can respect people who even have very different opinions from you on issues. And you can still like that person for the things that they've done in life that you respect. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people aren't like that. To them, it's black and white. Either I like you or I hate you. Well, wait, what? If in life, all you have is I like you or I hate you, you're going to be very lonely. Because most people, you're not going to outright love or hate. You understand what I mean? Like, there's going to be things you like and you don't like about people. And the more you get to know a person, people are very nuanced, they're very complex, many layers like an onion, right? You got to learn that. It's not just, oh, well, everything we are in agree with or we hate each other. That's fucking stupid, very immature mentality. But sadly, there's a lot of people who are adults who act like small kids. They never grew up. They never learned this shit. And so they act like that. So for me, you know, well, Mark Hamill, maybe I don't agree with every political thing he says, but I love him as Luke. I love him as the Joker in all the things he's voice acted. And I can still like that. You see? Well, Sarah, now here you go, and here's where you get into the nitty-gritty of it. Sarah says, do you think it's possible to respect someone that supports racist or homophobic politics? And here's where we get into it, right? Because you're right. There could be issues that you determine are so divisive that you just can't forgive someone, right? Like, you guys know me. I've always said, I feel that it doesn't matter what your gender, your sexuality, whatever your preference is, you should still be able to get married. Like, I believe that. I think that everyone has a right to be happy, and everyone has a right to live their life in happiness, and should be able to have this union. I don't see the reason why you can't get married just because you're gay or you're trans. I don't get that. And a lot of people are like, oh no, marriage is just a man and a woman, okay? That's just one philosophy that I've had. And I've always said that, by the way. That's not something new. I've always said that publicly, okay? But that's one of the things. What if someone says, well, no, I firmly believe that marriage is just between a man and a woman. Well, I say, well, are you homophobic? Well, are they? I don't know. That's a subjective question. Do you find that homophobic if someone staunchly believes that marriage should only be between a man and a woman, right? So now, if someone said that publicly, does that mean you can no longer respect anything they've ever done? Do you hate them as an actor? Do you hate them as a person? Do you know, it's crazy. That's how society is, right? That sadly, you can't just disagree with someone, but then continue to respect them for what you liked them for to begin with, right? What do you like chicken sandwiches? I love chicken sandwiches. I think they're amazing. You want to know one of the best chicken sandwiches out there you can get is from Chick-fil-A. But did you know that Chick-fil-A is also a company that's based in a lot of religion? So if you're anti-religious, does that mean you can never eat at Chick-fil-A? But the chicken sandwich is amazing. Why don't you just fucking go there and eat the sandwich and say fuck the politics and religious bullshit and just eat the sandwich, right? But people can't seem to separate these things. Everything has to be intertwined constantly, and that's, you know, it's just crazy. That's true. Dabhan says Papa John's turned out to be a pretty bad racist. Do we all hate pizza now? Well, you know what happened? They kicked him out of the company. And he was the spokesperson for the company. And then they exposed all this racist shit that he was saying to people behind the scenes. And then they kicked him out of the company. And now he's pissed because now basically he has no control over the company at all. And he's all upset. And he even slams them. Oh, this pizza sucks now. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's a pretty interesting discussion. But like I said, this is why I have not delved into that realm yet. I think one day I will. I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a day when, and it will be separate. I'm not going to do it on DSP Gaming or anything like that. Maybe I'll even make a new channel for it. All right? But I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a day when I'm going to end up doing some kind of commentary, right? That it's not just about games. That it ends up being about other things. And like I've told you guys, I'm not left and I'm not right. I'm kind of in the middle. And I'm not, here's the other thing. I'm not religious and I'm not anti-religious either. I'm also kind of in the middle. So I'm kind of in the middle of everything here. And I try to see things from a neutral perspective to try to understand both sides of an argument. So I think that I could probably bring some uniqueness to discussions about this stuff. The problem is, people don't want that today. Today, people want either you're with me or you're against me. You understand? Like, we are so polarized right now in the United States on everything that it's like either you are pure this way or pure that way, and if you're not in agreement with me, you're my enemy. That's ridiculous. I can't believe there's so many people like that. I mean, who, you're just going to hate everyone? It's ridiculous. That's like a 4-year-old acts like that. And we have grown adults. We have people in our government running things that fucking act like this. It's insane that that's how our world is right now. So anyway, we'll see what happens in the future. Like I said, eventually I will probably do stuff in that regard, but we're not going there anytime soon. As I get older, that's something to move to. That's the cool thing about me being a variety creator, is that I never run out of content. Like, really, I will never run out of content. And I will never have to be toxic. Unlike all these other shitbags who don't know how to have an intelligent discussion or entertain anyone. Instead, all they can do is make fun of people. I don't have to be like that. I actually can have a variety of content, and there's tons of shit that I haven't even delved into yet that we could definitely talk about in the future, and I'd be happy to, but we have to, let's wait a while. I'm only in my early 40s. I got a long ways to go on this planet, so let's get to that stuff when we get to it, okay? Okay. I received a $2 tip. Comment Frenzy says, on that note, do you think people have lost their sense of humor? Feels like jokes that were okay not too long ago are now taboo. Now, here's what's happened, okay? People now are out to find something to be outraged about. That's what it is. People aren't out to have a good time in life. It's like everyone needs to have a reason to be upset so that they can complain and have their voice be heard. Like, it's really important to be able to air your grievances to the world on social media and other places for some reason. So if you can find something to complain about and act like it's valid, that's what people are dying for now, right? Oh my God, I was so wronged because someone made a joke about something. Like, oh, it really hurt me so deeply. I'm sure it did. I'm sure. If someone made a joke, a joke about you, a simple joke, and the one joke decimated you so much that you can't go on living, perhaps you should see a psychiatrist, okay? However, the flip side of that is, in some circles like YouTube, the jokes have gone too far. If you are systematically harassing and or defaming someone And it's become a popular thing to do that, right? And it's just well accepted. Oh, just keep piling on someone. And now that person is having a hard time living because you fucked with them so much. That's different. You see, there's a big difference. There's the whiners on social media who every little tiny thing is the end of the world, and so everything offends them, versus people who are legitimately getting destroyed and bullied online, and it seems like there's no protection or recourse against it because of the toxic nature of the internet and the fact that places like YouTube and Twitch and other places will not stand up to that kind of behavior unless they get sued. So it goes both ways. It does. It absolutely goes both ways. It's to what extent, and again, the question would be, to what extent is it allowed? To what extent would it be, fair? I've always been one to divvy out jokes, but also I could take a joke. The problem is when the entire existence of people on YouTube is to make my life a joke and basically make shit up about me, and then people believe it because they're stupid. That's a problem, you see? But, we could talk about this all day. I don't particularly feel like talking about it for the whole podcast. So, okay. Have I ever thought about running for president? Well, I'm starting to get to the age where I'd be eligible, right? Like, I was too young. It seems like you got to be in your earliest 40s or 50s to try to run for president. No one would take you seriously. So we'll have to see. If it's like I said, if Donald Trump could be elected president, I certainly could be elected president. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's done way worse things than I ever have, and he got elected, so I absolutely could become president. The question is, do I want to? Because it is public service. You understand that. It's actually, you're a servant to the people. Do I want to serve the American people? I don't know. Gotta think about that. Okay. There was something I was going to say, and I had a funny picture of me running for president 4 years ago. It was a joke, but I don't know where it is. I have it somewhere on my computer. I'd have to find it. I totally forgot where I put it. Do I think YouTube and Twitch streamers could unionize and stand up to YouTube and Twitch? No. I don't think that would work. I think that sadly, with Twitch is owned by Amazon. With YouTube, it's owned by Google. Like, I don't think they care. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they care. I think before they would make any concessions, they would shut down. I'm serious. I think they would just say, fuck it, and just close the company before they would care. That's my feeling anyway. When you're talking about two of the biggest companies on the planet who are so filthy rich, rolling in money, I don't think that they answer to anyone. They feel like, we don't have to improve. I mean, put it this way, all right? Twitch has not increased the bit rate that you can stream at in 7 years? So you cannot even stream at 1080p 60 frames per second on Twitch smoothly. You can't, unless you're a streamer that gets special permission or is allowed to. The limitations, what is it, 3,500 kilobits per second? You can't even do 1080p 60 frames. That's supposed to be a website that the whole site is based on high-end video and gameplay, and you can't even do that. If they don't care about that, do you really think they give two fucks about anything else? They don't care about anything. All they care about is the money rolling in. They don't have to listen to anyone. They don't. Comment Frenzy says, I think you're more agreeable than most people in politics. All right, Comment, do you want to know the truth? All right, here's the deal. If I were to become a politician, I would do it because I actually want to help people. And that's anti-politics in the United States. In the United States, it's always people trying to get ahead. If you take a look at the people we have in Congress and the House, the House and even the people in the fucking judicial branch, even the president, they're all out for themselves. They're not looking out for the best of the people. They don't. They get into their positions of power, and then they immediately start taking in lobbying contracts, payments, fucking paid vacations, all kinds of shit to give out the government rulings that these companies and entities want. We have a corrupted government system in the United States, and it's been like this for ages, all right? And every once in a while, you get someone in there who actually tried to end that or stop it. You get on one side of the political spectrum, right? You had, oh God, I'm having a brain fart. The guy from Arkansas, the military guy, he just passed away a few years ago from a brain tumor, I believe. I can't believe I'm having, God, I'm having a brain fart. I can't believe his name because I respected the guy so much. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? You guys are going to tell me his name in a minute. I know you are. You had him on one side, the Republican side. John McCain, thank you so much. John McCain on the one side, and on the other side, you had Bernie Sanders. Completely different philosophies on politics, but both of them want to end the whole, everyone in Washington is paid off. They want to end that completely. They always wanted to stop the lobbying because they wanted people to actually be public servants, okay? Which we don't have. We're supposed to have public servants in office to serve the people, and they don't do that. They only do what's in their own best interests all the time. It was Arizona, excuse me. That's why people were confused. I said Arkansas. It was Arizona that John McCain was from. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, like, that's the thing. If I were to become a politician, I would actually do it for the people. Because guess what? Take a look at me now as a YouTuber. Do I take any payoffs? Do I have any paid product placements? Do I do any shilling? I have all these opportunities to get paid, and I always turn them down because I want to be true to myself. I want to put out honest, genuine content that's meaningful for my audience, and I curate that style of content for them, and they support it. That's who I am as a person. My morals control who I am. I wouldn't feel good about making content that was fake to make money. You understand? So if I were to become a politician, I would do work for the people. But would I be successful? Because here's the problem with American politics. You need to raise money to be eligible. You have to have a campaign. Where's the money going to come from? If I'm not kissing ass so that companies will finance my campaign, how would I ever get elected? That's the problem with American politics right now. You can't even be eligible unless you have tons of money to run a campaign, right? And if no one heard of you, no one can vote for you. Yeah. Get Elon to start a super PAC for me. Oh, God. Oh. Anyway. We've had a little bit of a political discussion today, but we won't delve much deeper. I promise you. All right. Truth Seeker did a super chat, says, didn't you take the vaccine, but you don't trust the government? Huh? So, because I took a vaccine against a deadly virus that I didn't want to catch, nor did I want to spread it to other people, it means that I fully trust our government. Once again, as I stated, some people are black and white about everything, correct? Like, if you took a vaccine for COVID, that means you're a government shill. Huh? How do you even come to that connection without jumping so many huge conclusions and connections that don't exist? How do you get to that point? Like, where is your big whiteboard of conspiracies? How many pieces of twine do you have leading these like, what are you talking about? Not everyone's like you, just so you know. Not everyone has those kind of thoughts.
Typically helps me more than anything.